burning protests that happened over the past week. So in Washington, as everyone knows, there was a lot of protests going on. Some of the flags were being burned. Like the whole reason I bring it up is that I feel like it's okay to draw attention to like the war that's taking place in Israel, but
yeah,
to me, this is almost like equivalent to clickbaiting in YouTube when you're just trying to find any way to grab people's attention, even if it's offensive and so forth. Because a lot of people just feel like there was better ways that you could have protested the war or called people's attention without having to necessarily go to the extreme of burning a flag. This is what has drawn up a lot of people on the right sometimes saying, if you're not happy in this country, maybe you need to go somewhere else. Saying like, why are you here? Why are you burning flags and so forth? And this, like you're showing down in the picture, I don't know. What do you think about this? Do you think this is the proper way, I guess,
to get your point across? Yeah. Man, I would say no. So again, I think catch me if I'm wrong, but the First Amendment is free speech, so
that's
you are allowed to, protest non-violently. Now, of course, I guess graffiti and bring the American flag technically is non-violent, but again, guys, we definitely can't be doing this. Like, these are American monuments. We can't destroy history.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with you. Just because you're mad.
I agree. And to some degree, it kind of defeats the overall purpose, because then people start being more focused on destruction of property and stuff like that, instead of the overall goal, which is to have some type of discussion or see if like, see what we can do to kind of resolve this like whole issue. So it just kind of, I don't know, just lose a lot of credibility and a lot of people that would have supported you if you wouldn't have gone through such like extremes. That's like the only issue,
No, I was just gonna mention. So I know there's a horrible war going on, overseas with Israel and Hamas, and again, people are being killed on both sides. Yeah, but doing kind of violent, destructive stuff like this is not helping. The message. Now, the reason why they did protest was because the Prime Minister of Israel, Netanyahu, did come to Congress to do a speech. So this was their way in protesting that they didn't agree. And I don't know if you heard, a lot of Democrats actually sat out of this, including Kamala. Kamala did not.
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Yeah,
that's pretty interesting to know.
Did you get a chance to hear a speech?
No, I didn't necessarily hear a speech, but I know that all this happened during while everyone was talking about Kamala Harris and her being endorsed and so forth. Just very interesting to learn that all this on the back end, while everyone was distracted with that, we had all this other, important like big news, going on. So,
well, he had some interesting points in his speech. So he was telling he was telling everybody that a lot of these protesters don't even really know what they're protesting for.
Gotcha.
So he said that I guess a lot of protesters are saying things like, from the river to the sea, we want all this war to stop. He was like, but you guys don't know what river and what sea that you're talking about. And then also he mentioned that I guess some members of the LGBTQ community are doing Gays for Gaza, but he says this doesn't even make sense. It's like saying chickens for KFC.
No, you're right.
When you're in these countries, they because of your beliefs or your just who you are, you can be prosecuted. I
got you.
So I think it was interesting that he did put this in perspective, and if you are protesting, make sure you kind of know what you're protesting about, make sure that I just thought it was really interesting.
No, I agree. I just think just like you said, I agree with you. Like everyone should know, like because sometimes, like you said, people just kind of not really doing their research and so forth. But only thing that this does, though, it might actually infuriate a little bit more people, because then people might feel like, because there are people who are educated and doing it, they might feel like, well, he's kind of like insulting their intelligence kind of to some degree. So you might have some people a little upset with that as well. They feel like, well, Yeah, like they might feel like he's just distracted from the whole overall issue of why people are protesting. They just kind of trying to like, distract everybody from, like the overall war in general. Because a lot of people are trying to say ceasefire, but he's trying to act like, he's still defending his position for the most part. He's not really here and there talking points and so forth.
Right, and that I do agree. That's exactly what he was doing. He was trying to explain why he is continuing this war. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting, actually, I appreciated was so Kamala actually came out the very next day with the statement.
Yes.
So she mentioned let me see so some of the highlights. She did say that these acts that were saw in DC were despicable by unpatriotic protesters. She condemns any individuals. The pro-Hamas graffiti and rhetoric is abhorrent and we must not tolerate it. She condemns the burning of the American flag. So again, I was very excited to see her come out, because pretty much, she will be the next Democratic nominee. So
exactly.
Past week, again, I haven't seen Kamala talk this much ever.
No, I agree.
So I do commend her for coming in like pretty much each week and speaking on the latest topics and her stance on it. So now we can kind of understand what her view is versus what Biden's view.
No, I definitely agree. I agree with you. I think more than likely she's going to be the nominee. And I feel like she's trying to hurry and step up into the place that she knows she has to kind of carry the baton moving forward.
Yeah,
I think it was kind of like a smart move on her end. So we'll see how this kind of plays out.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention she can also now start to talk about her foreign policy experience. What has she done that's been presidential? Because again, up until now, there's not too much things that I think she can kind of put on her resume.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, well, one thing that I don't know if you noticed that her campaign is doing over the past few days is they're now saying that she was never in charge of the border. I'm not the border czar. I'm not the border czar. Again, I mean, I'm pretty sure I can find some quotes back from a few years ago where you said that you were in charge of the border. And
I think people were saying that she was going to do the whole play of all the bad stuff that happened. She was just going to blame pretty much on Biden. Like that's his. Like I'm just the vice president. There was nothing I can do. He was doing that. I was never really in charge of the border. That was really Biden. Kind of like the cover up for all the bad policies and so forth.
Okay. Well, then what did she do then? Right.
No, you're right. Then what were you doing there? Yeah. What were you in charge of?
Yeah. So she is in charge of the border. I just want to let everybody know she is in charge of the border. Okay.
Yeah.
And since the border, again, as we know, it's just millions of illegal immigrants are coming over every year.
It's a mess. Yeah.
It's a hot mess, man. And she is in charge of it. And for whatever reason, she didn't do what she needed to do to fix that. I mean, how many times did she even go visit the border?
No, you're correct. And be honest with you, if you notice, every time people had complaints about the border or the migrants, you notice no one mentioned Kamala. They just always said this is Biden's fault. Biden do that. But like you said, wasn't she in charge of the border? So should you be blaming that person? But
right.
Notice, so that means she was MIA the whole time. She was in charge of it, but it just she didn't know how to handle it. She didn't know what to do. Yeah.
So this is gonna come back to bite her. I think later as we get closer to the elections or the debates, they are gonna ask her.
Yeah.
Trump will remind her.
Yes.
And I hope she has her answers out. But again, so far with the whole
but she's like you said, I agree. Like it was a good move for her putting out a statement. She did step up. That's like a really, really good. It looks really good on her end. So
we'll
see what happens.